Hi, everyone. I wanted to start by asking a question, which is, for you, what defined your childhood experience? For me, it was undoubtedly the world of imagination and fantasy. And while that can be something great, you can also look back on it and have scary memories from your fantasy world. For example, I used to love the thought of Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and other fantasy and not real, unreal figures. And however, the Easter Bunny terrified me. I used to make my parents every night before Easter put a note on the door that said, "Easter Bunny, do not come in the house. Please leave the Easter baskets on the front door. You cannot enter." And looking back on it, it's ridiculous and an irrational fear. But in the moment, it was very real for me. And I couldn't sleep at night thinking that this crazy, creepy bunny was going to enter our house. Anyway, I think that one of the best things about this is that even though I doubt anyone in this room could also say that they had an irrational fear of the Easter Bunny, everyone can look back on it and think that they had a similar experience and look on this childhood in a nostalgic sort of way. And nostalgia is really important to the concept of memory, and especially historical memory, because it brings the past into the present, and you feel like you're reliving these memories. And Walter Benjamin said, "History is the object of a construction whose place is formed not in homogeneous and empty time, but in that which is filled by the here and now." This is especially important in the case of Spain, which after having a civil war was under a dictatorship by Francisco Franco for 40 years. And within this time, the people from the losing side, from the Republican side, did not have the opportunity to talk about the victims or the atrocities of war. And even after Spain did transition to democracy in the 70s upon Franco's death, they still decided to implement the Pacto del Olvido, which is a pact of forgetting, which essentially said that all of those people would remain silenced, and they remain in silence today. And so basically, all of their memories and trauma are represented best, in my opinion, through film, especially those films that implement the child narration and fantasy elements, because like nostalgia and thinking back to childhood, everyone can relate on the one hand, and also it breaks with our sense of temporality and history. And so in the first image, one of the things that Victor Erice did in order to implement this, in order to dissolve the lines between reality and fantasy, as well as history and modern time, was use intertextuality, such as putting James Whale's Frankenstein in his film. And also something about childhood, as that can be seen in the second one, is the Manichaeism of war, which is children don't know the difference between good and bad, which makes them such effective narrators. Thank you.